telling the team to have some emotions. At least someone cared yesterday. Watch this footage. Look at her, bro. Look at her. Everybody head look down. Everybody look all out of sync. And I'm here to tell you, this is not what you want to see in a tough situation they was dealt with yesterday, bro. We know the Valkyries came out and put BTA all over them, bro. But at the end of the day, Caitlin Clark is trying.
Recent video footage has emerged showing Caitlin Clark addressing her Indiana Fever teammates with visible frustration, urging them to display more passion during their recent defeat against the Las Vegas Aces. The clip has gained significant attention across social media platforms, particularly on X, where users have been analyzing the team's performance and dynamics. The footage captures Clark speaking directly to her teammates, emphasizing the need for increased intensity and emotional investment in their play. During the conversation, several players appear disengaged, with their heads lowered and body language suggesting disconnection from the moment. This incident occurred following Indiana's disappointing loss to Las Vegas, where the team struggled to maintain competitiveness throughout the contest. The loss has raised questions about head coach Stephanie White's tactical decisions and overall team management.
PA all over him, bro. But at the end of the day, Caitlin Clark is trying to do everything in her power to make sure this team stay locked in all 4 quarters. This is clear as day, another example of that. I feel like they lost the game yesterday because of Stephanie White and her coaching and her different schemes, preferably her offensive scheme. They cannot get in a rhythm. They cannot figure out a way to put the ball in a bucket. But I said this yesterday, bro, and I'm saying it again. Them starting Ari McDonald was one of the biggest factors.
Critics have pointed to the offensive system as a primary concern, noting that the team appears unable to establish any consistent scoring rhythm. The lack of fluid ball movement and efficient shot creation has become a recurring theme in their recent performances. One controversial coaching decision that drew particular scrutiny was the choice to start Ariel McDonald in place of Lexi Hall. While McDonald contributed 7 points to the effort, many observers felt this lineup change disrupted the team's established chemistry and rotation patterns. Hall had previously demonstrated her capability as a starter, making the decision to bench her seem questionable given the team's need for stability.
Starting Ari McDonald was one of the biggest factors that contributed to the loss yesterday. I love Ari McDonald. I feel like she's a hell of a basketball player, but no one said she was a starter, especially me. They should not have took Lexi Hall out. That itself messed up the chemistry as well. With that, it looked like they didn't even practice with Ari being a starter, bro. That's how bad it looked yesterday, dog. Looked like they didn't know what the hell to do when Ari was out there. Granted, she picked up some buckets, very slim. I think she had like 7 points, but
the coaching staff's decision becomes even more puzzling when considering they had released Damaris Dantas, a 2-time WNBA champion, earlier in the season. This move raised eyebrows about the team's roster construction and whether they were making the right personnel choices for their championship aspirations. Social media reactions to the footage have been mixed, with fans and analysts offering various perspectives on the situation. Some supporters praised Clark's leadership qualities and her willingness to hold teammates accountable during difficult moments. Others questioned whether the team was experiencing internal friction or simply struggling with confidence issues.
But at the end of the day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this was a not broke situation because Lexi Hall proved that she could be a starter. Ain't that why you bitch DeWanna Bonner, 2-time WNBA champion? So you mean to tell me that Ari McDonald's better than Lexi Hall and she was better than DeWanna Bonner, bro? Because we know DeWanna Bonner ain't all that, but come on, dog. I just got to keep it real, man. I like Ari McDonald. I truly do, but I just don't think she's a starter. Now,
several comments focused on the timing of Clark's intervention, with observers noting it occurred during the 3rd quarter when the team was facing mounting pressure. The discussion revealed concerns about the squad's competitive spirit and whether they possessed the mental fortitude necessary for playoff contention. Some fans speculated that certain players might have been attempting to prove they could win without Clark's contributions, following earlier criticism that the team was too dependent on their star player. However, this theory seemed unlikely given the potential damage to their playoff positioning and overall season goals. The conversation also touched on former players who had been released or traded away from the organization.
McDonald, I truly do, but I just don't think she's a starter. Now let's check out some of these comments up under this post. I know people was going in, man. people definitely went in, dog. This one right here says, was this in the third quarter? Somebody said, yes. How did you know, dog? How did you know? Somebody said, yeah, but their fire is done. That's what Sophie Cunningham. So I just did a video right before this one, kind of dissecting what Sophie Cunningham said. Because Sophie Cunningham let it be known. The offense,
Tiffany Mitchell's departure was particularly questioned, as she had been performing well with her new team, averaging solid numbers and contributing meaningfully to their success. Mitchell's statistics from the previous game showed 7 points in 19 minutes, along with 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Meanwhile, opposing players like Kayla Thornton and Veronica Burton had excellent performances against Indiana, highlighting the talent gap that seemed to emerge during crucial moments. These individual battles often determine game outcomes, and Indiana appeared to struggle matching the intensity of their opponents. The broader concern extends beyond single game performances to systemic issues within the organization.
The offense you're running is not the right offense that need to be ran when Caitlin Clark is out there. They need to run a totally different offense when Caitlin Clark is back. And I have to agree. I think everybody else agreed. And as of right now, it is not looking good for the Indiana Fever basketball team, dog. Somebody said, y'all can hate Steph, but she was not lying or making an excuse when she said there was no competitive fire or energy. I don't know.
Observers have noted a pattern of lackadaisical play and insufficient urgency that has plagued the team throughout the season. This mental approach becomes particularly problematic during high-stakes situations where championship-caliber teams typically elevate their performance. Some analysts suggested that Clark should assume greater leadership responsibilities, potentially taking on a player-coach role to help guide the team's direction. Her basketball intelligence and competitive drive make her a natural candidate for increased influence over team strategy and motivation. The coaching staff's tendency to frequently alter rotations and playing styles has also drawn criticism.
What was going on with them? But I have an off shooting night or just being outplayed. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Somebody said the entire team were trying to prove a 1 point to the fan base that's telling them after they lost to the Sparks that they need CC to win. They were like, really now we need CC for us to win? Huh? Let's see about that. So basically you're saying that the
players struggle to develop consistency and rhythm when their roles and responsibilities change regularly. This instability can create confusion during games and prevent the team from executing their game plan effectively. Despite various criticisms and concerns, Clark's willingness to address these issues directly demonstrates her commitment to team success. Her vocal leadership represents an attempt to spark the competitive fire that championship teams require during challenging periods. The incident has sparked broader discussions about team chemistry, leadership dynamics, and the pressure facing young players in professional basketball.
See about that. So basically you're saying that the team tanked in order to prove that they needed Caitlin, they didn't need Caitlin Clark to win. That sounds stupid. Why would you mess up your record for that? Somebody said we should have kept Wheeler. I don't know. We should have kept Erica Wheeler, but we definitely should have kept Timmy. We should have kept Timmy. Somebody said Timmy, but I think Timpson will be good when she gains a little confidence. Y'all remember CC did to New York on the ball. Doesn't take the rock.
While some view Clark's approach as necessary accountability, others worry about the long-term effects of public confrontations on team morale and unity. The question surrounding Caitlin Clark's future with the Indiana Fever has become increasingly complex. While trading their star player might seem financially foolish given the revenue she generates, the situation presents deeper basketball concerns that warrant examination. The monetary benefits Clark brings might be temporary anyway. Fans attend games primarily because of her basketball prowess, not celebrity status alone.
Play basketball. They're not. They're good. They're both good players. Angel's killing it. And both Angel Reese, all three of Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and Paige Beckers have similarly large social media followings. They all have really large social media followings. So, do they think that because Caitlin Clark is a celebrity that people are going to come and watch? It's not going to happen. People watch Caitlin Clark for the basketball. There's a reason why. There's a reason why post-Olympics, Caitlin Clark.
Unlike other prominent players such as Paige Bagers or Angel Reese, Clark's appeal stems from her entertaining style of play rather than social media presence. Despite similar follower counts across these players, Clark's on-court performance drives actual attendance. The post-Olympic period demonstrated this clearly when Clark and the Fever became sports entertainment's premier attraction. This success was purely basketball-driven, not based on star power or marketing appeal. The organization appears to misunderstand this fundamental distinction, potentially leading to poor decision-making regarding their playing style and roster construction.
Olympics. Caitlin Clark and the Fever became the best show in sports. There's a reason why. And it's because of it's because of 100% basketball. And I think that they're very much mistaken in the fact that they think that everything's going to be okay if the basketball turns to shit. And long term for the Fever, it won't. Like the Fever, obviously, we know the Fever need to make a choice. And I think the Fever are going.
The Fever faces a critical decision point regarding their coaching situation. Management seems likely to retain Stephanie White, which could result in transforming Clark into a diminished version of other players who don't match her natural playing style. This coaching philosophy conflicts with maximizing Clark's unique talents and abilities. A hypothetical trade scenario involving Dallas presents interesting possibilities. The Wings could offer Paige Bueckers plus a first-round selection for Clark, though Dallas would likely decline such a proposal.
Obviously, we know the Fever need to make a choice, and I think the Fever are going to make the choice. This is the choice I think the Fever are going to make, by the way. I think they're going to choose to keep Stephanie White and try to turn Caitlin Clark into a worse version of Paige Bueckers. I think that's the goal. And I mean this, if you plan on keeping Stephanie White past this year, and let's be real, Kelly Kravsov and Amber Cox probably do.
Counteroffers might include additional players like Maddie Siegrist or Tierra McCowan alongside Beakers, creating roster complications for both organizations. Clark's presence alongside players like Arik Ogunbowale could elevate Dallas significantly. Her ability to play off-ball with dynamic guards like Ogunbowale, combined with wings such as Satu Sabely and Natasha Howard, presents compelling lineup possibilities. Such arrangements could benefit both franchises while maintaining fan interest. However, the current coaching system presents fundamental incompatibilities.
What you need to do is call up Kurt Miller and go, yo, we will give you Caitlin Clark. We will give you Caitlin Clark. And you give us Paige Bueckers and your first round pick. And then Dallas say no. And Dallas come back with, you want.
No realistic scenario exists where Clark and White create either competitive excellence or entertaining basketball. Their combination guarantees mediocrity in both areas. Poor performance coupled with boring gameplay that diminishes Clark's impact. Removing White from the equation would at least restore entertainment value, as coaching improvements seem inevitable given the current baseline. The organization cannot realistically perform worse with different leadership. Trading Clark for a player better suited to White's system could actually improve the Fever's overall performance.
And you want a player to play your style? You want a player to play your style of play? We'll give you Paige Bueckers, but you are taking, what's her name? You're taking Maisha Hines-Allen. Or you're taking Tierra McCowan. You're getting Paige and one of those two, and you can get Caitlin, and we can take Caitlin Clark. Because let's be real. A Caitlin sprinting up with a Rike by her side.
While they wouldn't be superior without Clark, acquiring someone like Bueckers might create better team chemistry under White's egalitarian offensive approach. Dallas, conversely, might achieve playoff status with Clark replacing Bueckers in their system. This decision becomes particularly important for the sport's overall health. The choice between Clark and White represents a fundamental crossroads, with management likely to retain White based on existing relationships and loyalties within the organization. Ownership dynamics complicate matters further.
Sprinting up with a Rike by her side makes the Wings better. It makes both teams better. Caitlin beside JJ Quinterly, with JJ Quinterly as a dog Because even with Caitlin Clark playing off the ball with Quinterly just sprints. If Caitlin runs with Quinterly, and Quinterly's going to be on their wing, one, Isaiah James another wing, Louisa Geisel-Soder there with her, like, they can figure something out. They could figure something out for the Fever why their fans will still keep showing up, and they could get off.
Kelly Krauskopf's allegiance to white and veterans like Natasha Howard may influence decision-making beyond pure basketball considerations. The Dana Evans situation likely created additional friction, though perhaps not in expected ways. Rather than blaming coaching decisions, management might view Clark's playing style as incompatible with their preferred roster construction. When Clark's presence made it difficult to utilize Evans effectively, leading to her departure, the front office may have concluded that accommodating Clark creates more problems than solutions. The social media criticism surrounding player decisions, combined with White's historical coaching success, creates additional pressure.
Will still keep showing up, and they could get off Caitlin Clark and get better as a team with Stephanie White as a coach. Because right now, there's no scenario where Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White are either of these things, by the way. Either of these things. A good basketball team or a fun basketball team. Neither. There is no scenario that Caitlin with Stephanie White are either a good team or a fun team. They are guaranteed to be neither of them. They're going to be bad and boring with her. And it's going to take away from Caitlin Clark. If you get
White's previous achievements, including finals appearances and semi-final runs, contrast sharply with this season's struggles, her least successful WNBA campaign. Ownership interference prevents any actual trade scenarios, regardless of basketball logic. Clark's commercial value ensures she remains with the franchise, potentially reducing her role to that of a marketing asset rather than a bat.
And it's going to take away from Caitlin Clark. If you get rid of Stephanie White, you're going to be at least fun. You can't get, if they can't get worse, they can't get worse as a coach. Like, they cannot get worse. But at the end of the day, they'll get better, like, if they get rid of Caitlin Clark for a player that fits better. They're not better without Caitlin Clark, but if they swap.
When a fourth-string point guard from a struggling team commands more offensive involvement than Clark, the system's priorities become questionable. This situation demands serious consideration, even if no trade materializes. The current trajectory suggests continued mediocrity for the Fever, with declining viewership except for marquee matchups against players like Reese or Buekers. Last season's record-breaking television ratings contrast with this year's likely decline in audience numbers. This downward trend threatens the league's momentum and growth potential.